Welcome to the show presented by VDG Sports. I'm your host, Vince Douglas Gregory. Hey, thank you for joining. It's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. What's the safest investment? NFL team? MLB team? Hey, I'm going to add other sports just because I'm cool like that. Are sport athletes able to ask for a trade or able to ask to leave their current situation, even if they're under contract? That's an easy one, but let's make it difficult. That is an easy one, but let's make it difficult for difficult's sake. Basically, I'm just going to give you the long answer and no short answer on that one. You'll thank me later. And if you made it professionally, are you able to have a side job to make more money? Now, that seems like a joke of a question, but when you think about it, when you break it down, it's not a joke. There's a real answer, and you'll be surprised by the answer. You'll definitely be surprised. Now, what's the safest investment? It initially started off as NFL team or MLB team. I want to open this up because with just those two options, it's sort of easy, but it depends on you. It depends on what kind of person you are. It depends on how you predicting or seeing your future. Do you want to have this be like a long-term project, a rebuilding project, or something you just want to pump money in? You just want your money to just continue to grow and grow. If that's the case, and if you got it, spend it. NFL team will be the one. To go if you are all about the now. But in the future, hey, there might be some problems. Also, with MLB, Major League Baseball, right now, it's not looking too good. Your money will probably still grow, but it's not looking too good. This is more of your long-term kind of fixer-upper, whereas you're going to need to put some years into this. You're going to need to have this investment in for a long period of time, because at the rate and where MLB is going right now, it ain't looking that good. The average age of the fan is pretty high. The sport itself is considered to be boring, and it's long. The games are long. The sport is considered to be boring. It's a fixer-upper. But when you fix it up, its potential to grow will be more than the NFL, if you're asking me, and you are asking me. It will be more than, because baseball, you can grow it or have it seen globally. It's a World Series. Baseball is played on a lot of different continents. Baseball is played in a lot of different places, whereas football is kind of centralized to the North American experiment. And there are a few pockets around the world where it's definitely appreciated, but it's not necessarily appreciated more so than baseball. You can quote me on that one. I ain't scared. I ain't never scared. Until that one time, once before. But we ain't gonna bring that up here. Nobody got receipts but me and the people who need them receipts. But I wanted to open this up past those teams. I want to open up into a larger picture, because if it's just those two, it's simple. It's easy. I want to open up to football. Yes, soccer. That would be the better investment if you're asking me. One, there's already a large fan base with the sport itself. It's already a large fan base. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, it is still growing, and it will still be considered to be still growing, especially in the areas, in the places where you basically need it to grow, because it hasn't reached its tippy top in North America in other places developing when it comes to football, soccer, because it's already huge and big in some other areas and other places. But North America, not so much. That is a place where it is there for the taking. It is there to be consumed. And if you're going to make this investment and it hasn't been tapped in really there, your money can just explode. You can just be doing your little money man dance. Doing your money man dance. And see, I'm not doing the money man dance. I'm just doing the two-step. Only a selected few can see the money man dance, and I don't know your money man dance, and I don't want to insult you by doing my money man dance and putting my money man dance on your money man dance, and then next thing you know, people asking you questions about, is that your money man dance? And I don't want to get you in trouble like that. I don't want to get you in trouble like that. But football, soccer would be the sport, be the league that you would want to invest in because of the potential growth and how large the fan base around the world globally is anyway. And you have all of that factored in. And once that's out of the way, depending on where you are and where you located, your money will start making more money, and it would just be a beautiful and amazing thing. Hockey, that is a tricky one. It's definitely a low buy-in. It would definitely be a low buy-in. And depending on your expectations, or depending on where you are getting this team or buying this team, your expectations can change even further. Not further forward, but further. But I'd say scale back the expectations. Have it within the back of your mind that the league is going to be around, but it definitely needs some work. And there's definitely a ceiling where my money is not going to grow past this point over this period of time. So it's going to be something that will just be collecting or having a decent amount of interest if you're not in the red. If you are not in the red, and hopefully you're not in the red. If you are in the red, I suggest you take that money, stack it upon some more money, and buy one of the other teams within the sports I already named. Football, NFL, if you can buy in at this point, but I'm assuming that you are. I'm assuming we're in imaginary zone right now. We are having an imaginary talk right now. I'm talking, you're talking, we're having a conversation. We are besties, best of friends. What do they say? BFFs? Yeah, BFF. And I said it. I ain't scared. Once again, I ain't scared. I ain't ashamed. I said it. I can say it again. BFFs. Best friends forever. If you need me to spell it out for you. So we're having this conversation. If you had the money, and if you were able to, you could definitely buy in to the NFL, the National Football League, and your money at this point will grow and grow and grow and grow within a short period of time. Your franchise, your team it'll just keep going up and up and up. But the danger with that is, as I was saying previous, the balloon or the bubble will eventually burst. Somebody will prick your balloon, and that will be everything coming back down, because it is definitely going to reach a point where, not saturation, but it's going to reach a ceiling, or it's going to reach the point where the balloon pops, the bubble bursts. Some of us are already pointing to that point. You probably have to go and check out another video I've done when I basically mention and talk about that point, but that's not for here. Here is making sure you're getting the best investment, and definitely depending on whether you are want a blue chip, or you are value buyer, or you are a day trader, or are you a long-term investor? So you got to figure out who you are first, and then match it up to what league fits how you operate and see investments to begin with. NFL, good, amazing buy for the now. NBA, hey, so much potential, and it's definitely still on the come up. Not creeping on the come up, but it's still on the come up. Shout out to you know who. Shout out to you know who. And it's there. It's there. Soccer would be the one where it's amazing, beautiful. If you can build it and wait, it will come. It will definitely be of value buy depending on location where you are, or it can definitely be a long-term investment that keeps stacking money just because of the reach itself with the amount of fans of the sport and of these footballers. Hockey would be that probably risk, your day trading risk, where you buy at a certain price, and then as soon as you peak out, as soon as you win a few cups, as soon as you are maxed out, you want to get out. And I'm not saying that because I don't think this sport's going to be around. You want to get out because it's really, really unpredictable how it's going to go and how it's going to be. Because every time I think that they are winning and taking the right directions and the right steps, they get knocked back down, or they do something else, or they show us. Yeah, they show us why they can't be trusted right now. But that's okay. That's fine. They'll figure it out. But that's for someone else. But if you just want to flip, you can flip that. NBA, definitely, it's in between. It's in between. But it definitely still growing. And it will always modernize. And it will always, and yes, always means always, at least try something. Try something. And that's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for. Hopefully that answers the question, and that have many answers. And I guess the main thing comes down to how you invest. How do you see your investments? What do you consider yourself as? Do you want this long-term thing? Do you want this short-term gain? Or are you just living on the margins? Or do you want to see some value? You want to buy low, sell high, but obviously you always want to turn and make a profit. If it isn't working out, and if things aren't going the way they should be going, you need to get out. You need to bounce. You need to, yes, say, I ain't signed up for this. I didn't sign up for this. And speaking of not signing up for this, can players ask for a trade, or can players say, hey, I want to go, I want to leave? Yes. 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 A player can ask for a trade in any of the sports that allow trades. A player can ask for a move, any of the other sports where you can ask for a move. Depending on how the contract is structured within a move, he won't be able to move freely. He won't be able to move to a different team unless certain criteria are met, or he won't be traded or moved to a team that he doesn't approve of if it's structured that way in his contract. Depending on the sport. Because some sports, he's allowed to reject the trade, reject the move, because he doesn't want to go to the team. He doesn't want to go to the club. He doesn't want to go to the organization. He doesn't want to go to the franchise for whatever reason. Maybe it's a loser. Maybe it's a winner, but he won't be playing he won't have any game time. He won't have any time to play. Who wants to do that? Who wants to sit on the bench and make millions? Come on. It's for the love of the game. It's because they love the sport that they are playing. And obviously, some sports require more love than others, but when it's all factored in, it's still for the love, and then everything else follows. Yes, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt and saying it's for the love. Fight me. Not really, but fight me. And that's the thing. NFL, you can ask for a trade, but depending on whether you can get the same value, it's not gonna happen. Then you can kick up a fuss, you can kick up dust and have the team cut you, and then it's all bad. You don't want to do that, but some have in the past, because maybe the way that their contract was structured, or maybe that they got all their money paid up front, and now on the back end of the deal they are valued, or they're worth more than what the contract is paying them. That's a collective bargaining agreement kind of thing, but it's definitely understandable since all of this sports basically business of entertainment, but entertainment in the sense of they entertain us fans, but the competition is real. The competition and competing each game, each match, that is real. But that competition is something that we view. That competition is something that we are entertained by. That competition is something that drives us. That competition is something that we crave because of the emotions and the emotional factor and all of the other things that it gives us. And it's like a family member. It's like they're part of the family, and that's the organization, and that's the team. And sometimes the players can feel that way too, but since players come and go, since players can ask for a trade, since players can leave, since players growing up that might not be their favorite team that they're on, but they respect the club, they respect the organization enough, then keep it professional, and they give their all, or attempt to give their all, or they basically go to their job and work on their job, regardless of who team they liked or what team they were a fan of when they were younger. It's all good. It is all to the G good. You heard it here first. Players can't ask for a trade. Players can get trades. Players can ask for a move. Players can get moves. It depends on what works out best for the team that's holding all the cards. It's not what works out best for the player unless there already have been an agreement, a handshake deal, whereas I'm going to put this time in, you're going to let me go here, or I'm going to do this and you're going to do that, maybe a tit for tat, or maybe bargaining agreement, a transactional thing, whereas I do this, get this, and what have you. But for the most part, the club, the team, the organization are going to make the move what's best for them, and everything else is second, unless it falls into those criteria that I mentioned before. But who knows? It may not. They might just be a good run organization. They just let the player go because the players say, hey, I want to go. Oh, that's cool. You don't want to be here? We're not going to hold you hostage. We're not going to hold you hostage if you don't want to be here. And yes, hostage is a loaded word, but come on now. You're somewhere where you don't want to be and you can't leave. What does it mean? What is it? I have other words that I could use, but hostage seemed like the better choice, because hostage is the one that gets your attention. Hostage is the one that you can visualize as like, I'm being held against my will. Blink twice if you're in trouble. I'm not in trouble. I'm not gonna blink, but from this point on, I'm gonna start blinking again because I can't hold it that long. Now with the player being able to ask for a trade, they can ask for a trade. But this one is a little bit tricky, but you're gonna have to put your thinking caps on, not the dunce hat, not the hat with the cone head or anything like that. You don't have to sit in the corner. You can come out here with the rest of us. You don't have to sit in the corner. You can come out here with the rest of us, but it's gonna require some thinking. It's gonna require some deep thinking, but it's okay. I got you. We can hold hands. But after the hand holding session, you just know that we did this together. But if you want all the credit, go ahead and take the credit. It doesn't matter with me. It doesn't matter with me. Can professional athletes have side jobs if they already made it? Or can they have side jobs to make more money? Yes, they can. Why can't they? In fact, hold your breath. You can hold it for a long time, but this won't take a long time. You can hold it for a long time, but this won't take a long time, because once I say it, the light bulb's gonna come on. You're gonna be like, you are right. But that's okay. That's fine. That's what I'm here for. That's what BFFs are for. That's what the best friends forever are for. They here to inform. They here to let you know. They here to tell you when you are going out the rockers. Hey, you are going out the rockers. You are out of control. Or they can be right there going out of control with you and say, you know that was a bad idea. You know we shouldn't have done that. But it's cool. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. And the reason I say the light's gonna come on, because a lot of players, a lot of superstar players, even some mediocre players already have side gigs. They already have side jobs. It's not the jobs that you're thinking about. It's not the jobs that minor league baseball players have to support their career, where that side job is not really the side job. The side job is the main job, and the baseball part is the side job. And I just made sense. And if you need more confirmation, or if you need me to say it again, baseball minor league side job is the baseball minor league part. The other job is the real job. That's the main job. But that's not why you're here, and that wasn't the question, but that was some insight. Side note of Vince's notes. Side note, you're welcome. You are welcome. Mediocre players, star players, or some other players, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is they can get the gig. They can get the job. For whatever reason, a company or a brand or something finds them appealing or interesting enough, or want to tap into their fan base, or want to tap into their following, or want to tap into whatever magical juice, magical potion that they are sprinkling on peeps, that making them go wow. And that is the clean adult version of what I really wanted to say. What I really wanted to say, because it's still a family program. Still a family program and a family show. It's cool. I ain't mad. I ain't mad at you. I ain't got nothing but love for you. But what you think? Yeah. Having endorsements is a side job. Having endorsements is the side job. Making appearances, paid appearances, is the side job to make more money. Signing autographs, if people still take autographs and do that, is the side job, because being there is an appearance, and they're getting paid for having the appearance for so long. So once a player get an endorsement, they are putting their likeness, they are using whatever it is that makes them appealing to the large population, to the larger public, and that brand wants to tap into it. That brand wants that following, that brand wants that recognition, that brand wants that street cred. That brand wants that street cred that you are selling, that you have, that they don't have to try to manufacture themselves. They can just insert athlete into whatever it is, and they got that street cred, or whatever street cred they are trying to get. That is basically then athlete having a side job, because it's not their main job. Their main job is to play the sport. The side job is showing up, to whatever event that requires them to show up, because that's the deal of the contract. That's the deal of the agreement. That's the deal that both sides, both parties came to when it came down to the endorsement. And then there's their commercial, making and recording the commercial, to have the commercial played during TV hours where the demographics fits what they're trying to reach out to. And by them having the player on their brand, by them having the player, it makes them more likable. It makes them more cool. It makes them a little bit more hip. Yeah, hip. By having that player rock their gear, by having that player eat their food, by having that player drive their ride, by having that player do whatever it is they are marketing, whatever it is that the team of gurus with the pad and pen said, we need this guy because this guy would tap into blank, 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 blank. And of course, sometimes it just doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, they don't pick up the deal anymore. The player and whatever company they are working for on their side gig, they part ways and they go a different direction. And there's also the players with the shoe deals, the shoe contracts. That is a side gig as well. However, some players are really serious about their footwear and their gears, and if the kicks aren't working, if the kicks aren't right, if the shoes aren't working and the shoes aren't right, they will probably go either to no brand or a brand that fits who they are. Because getting a deal just because you have the opportunity to get a deal isn't what a lot of these athletes do. They pick and they choose what fits them a little bit more. Maybe starting off, maybe just getting started in the business, they will pick a couple of brands. You're like, wait a minute, why you do that? Oh, you were young, you ain't understand how it worked. Now you know how it work, and I don't see you with them commercials anymore. I don't see you with that brand anymore. What really happened? What really went down? What's really going on? Hey, I won't tell a soul. You can tell me your secrets. We BFFs. And see, I'm gonna keep saying it to prove to you that I have no shame when it comes to that. Yeah. And that is why the light bulb should have instantly came on when I brought up the fact that athletes and players having endorsements is the side job that they can do to get more money, and that a lot do have to get more money. And there are, wait for it, there's some athletes that get and have more money coming from their side jobs than their actual salary. I'll wait a few seconds so you can put your brain back in your skull, because I know it just popped out. I'll wait a few seconds so you can put your brain back in the skull, because I know it just popped out. Some athletes get more money from endorsements, more money for selling their likeness, more money from making appearances than their actual salary. That's happened. That is happening. That is current. What players? Hey, that's a different question for a different day and a different show. Right now, it's all about can athletes, can sport athletes get extra money or more money from their side jobs? And the easy answer is yes. The long answer is what I just gave. Hopefully. Long answer is what I just gave. Hopefully. And also, they are able to sign contracts and get paid on top of whatever it is they're doing. Not get another team, not play another sport, even though that's happened before. Even though that's happened before, now it'd be sort of hard to do. But I'm sure someone will try it out and someone will be successful again, because history eventually repeats itself, and there's gonna be some super freak who can do multiple sports really good and have people pay him real money to do it. I just don't know who that is right now, and I'm gonna have to figure that out, and I'm gonna have to look that up. But it's definitely something that's not limited to the star players. The mediocre players can get this paper too. The sorry players, the players that aren't good enough, they can get that paper too, depending on their value, depending on their worth, depending on their agent working out a deal with whatever company and coming to terms, coming into agreement to have them sprinkle their fairy dust, sprinkle their juice and their magic potion on their following and their fans, and that company, that brand wants to tap into that, because some of these athletes and some of these players are brands themselves, and the ones that are brands themselves can put a number down, and if the company don't match, they can just tell them to kick rocks, keep walking, kick rocks and keep walking, because you ain't welcome here. That what you pushing, that what you attempting to get me to do, you don't understand. I have more followers than you have on your own. You don't understand. When I move, everything moves. You don't understand. When I say go trends. You don't understand. When I hop up and down, it causes an earthquake. When some players with brands that big, they can pretty much not do whatever they want to do, even though they probably can, but they can set the market. They can say, this is my value, and the company, the brands, or the other smaller brands that want them or to want the street cred from them, they can either take it or leave it and go somewhere else, find another athlete, find another person maybe similar or a couple of steps or a couple of levels below within their price range, and go that direction. But for the most part, players with that much power and that much pull, they set their price on their quote side job, end quote. Yeah, they can set the price and they can make just as much off of that than their actual salary. And a few do actually make more from their side jobs, the endorsements, than their actual salary. But then you have clubs, and then you have some teams that you as a sport individual, sport athlete, that can go to, and you can tap in to their brand. You can get their street cred. You can, by just being there, benefit from everything that's involved with the club. Just by being there, you can get the endorsements that you would have never got anywhere else. You can get the magic juice that you didn't have on your own. You can get the magic blueberry potions that you could have never found on you successfully by yourself. With a few organizations, with a few entities, sports entities, a few clubs, that can happen, where it works in reverse, where the player can go there and their profile can explode and it can become more recognizable. But for the most part, it's the other way. Now, there are times where both the club and both the player have brands of their own, and they come together and they form a super brand. No, that's not the money man dance. That's the running man. Because I'm running, because two brands coming together, that's an explosion that only a few are prepared and ready for. That's an explosion that only a few are prepared and ready for. But that's okay. That's cool. That is cool. But if you have the money, pretend time again. If you have the money, make believe as well, you can buy whatever sport franchise, whatever sport team. Is going to boil down to, what kind of investor are you? What kind of investor are you? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? Are you living off the margins? Are you looking for value? Or do you just want that solid, steady blue chip? That comes down to you. That is on you. Players can ask for a move. Players can ask to be on a different team. Players can ask to their face turns a different color. Red if they're angry, blue if they are depressed. But it's up to what actually benefits the franchise, unless there's some language in the contract that says that this can happen only if these teams. So that's going to require more information from different sources, more information about the team, about what's allegedly in the contract, and the player's preference. So you're gonna have to bring all of those together, and whether the move can happen, because just because you want to go somewhere doesn't mean that place can afford you. Just because you want to leave doesn't mean that the place wants you or you want. There are many variables, and to just narrow it down and to just make it simple has to be beneficial. 60-40 beneficial, and the 60 is going to be either the club or the player, and it's the player if it's structured that way in the agreement or in the contract. But then you have some organizations that would just move a player because a player say, don't want to be there, and the team say, all right, cool, find somewhere, you come back and we'll see what we can do. But that's a small, minute percent. And yes, players can make more and more money from their side jobs. Some actually make more from their side jobs than their regular job, unless you are a minor league baseball player. Then your side job is the one you go to the most because it's supporting, it's doing everything. And your major job is, yeah, you get it. So if you could invest in any, it doesn't matter the team doesn't matter, but a team within a sport, what team would you invest in what sport, and why would you do it? Is it because you are this kind of investor, or it just doesn't matter and it's just something that you would want to do because it's cool and it's just like playing a game, but it's real life? Make believe though. And if you were a player, and if you wanted to trade, if you wanted to leave, and if you wanted to move, and if a team didn't allow you or wanted you to move, what would be some of the steps? What would be some of the things that you would do to try to get your move? Would you throw a fit? Would you look for another team to take you anyway? What would you do with that? And if your side job was making more than your major job, would you quit your major job to work your side job? Or what if your side job actually depended on your major job, because your major job gave you the street cred so you can get the side job, but the side job is paying you more? How would you work that out? Or how would you work out the situations, period? Hey, you can pick, you can choose, or you can just come up with a question. Come up with another question. It's cool. It's fine. We alright here. We alright here. And we gonna be alright.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.